And I'm going to start off by stalking. Dobry wieczór, kako si? Ja sam dobro, yeah. And I've even highlighted it recently, for example, how, hello, it's August 2022, and I'm going to focus this video on the suppression of facts and truths, and how this applies to every single topic, whether it be from something affecting society as a whole to even individuals. And I've highlighted even in recent videos how my content on various platforms is being suppressed, either taken down or shadow banned, and how my view counts and everything go up and down and all this other nonsense. And I'm no one, but perhaps it might give an indication of what I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say about that. And then I'm going to start off by revisiting two older videos. Now, this first video, I talked about how the Globe and Mail did an article and even gave an award to the reporter on how they want to revisit old cases. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they were specifically old sexual assault cases. And even in the video, I talk about the insanity of this. And for example, the studies made famous by Julia Shaw, how implanting false memories plays a big role into the credibility. Now, her studies focus on external sources imposing a false memory, but over the years, I've highlighted how people can do that to themselves. And that's going to tie into the next video that I would like to revisit. So let's have a watch of this older video. It's not that long.
The Globe and Mail uncovered serious incompetence with police investigations and the judicial system across Canada. What this research concludes: if the police, prosecutors, other investigative units, courts, and female support groups are this incompetent, this questions the validity of every criminal case related and unrelated to alleged sexual crimes, as even the high probability that conviction cases are compromised with the same incompetence. The article shows cases that are missed, thus there are cases that should have never been. This would explain the countless innocent people who are vindicated after a conviction, which the police, prosecutors, other investigative units, and female support groups all found someone guilty. Based on the article, there are 6,348 files to date being reconsidered. This clearly shows that the investigating officers, prosecutors, courts, other investigative units, and female support groups who were part of the initial investigations were all incompetent, as these cases never move forward. If this is true, then every type of criminal case, sex-related or not, including convictions, must be reviewed retroactively. Because if these errors exist on this particular type of crime with such high numbers, then it cannot be trusted that any of the other cases were properly done. One of numerous examples, in the mid-2000s there was a process server who falsified affidavits of service for a few years. The chaos that followed was insane, as every case had to be reviewed. It wouldn't be fair of me to omit the possibility that the missed cases for justice found by the Globe and Mail didn't proceed because the initial investigation concluded no merit. If anyone reads individual reports, has various experiences in the legal field, or has knowledge via friends or first-hand experience that most sexual assault claims are false, primarily based on the alleged victim giving conflicting statements. As for going back to review old cases, Julia Shaw and others in her field talk about the issues with false memories and the judicial system. In her words, it is not a question of having false memories, but how much of our memories are real. Perhaps the real effort should be to find the innocent people who were falsely accused and convicted, and not chase after make-believe crimes, taking up time and resources, especially long after the alleged event. This reminds me of a case I unfortunately know all too well.
Now, what I'm about to say is going to trigger a lot of people. and I couldn't care less. The statistics show this. Most sexual assault complaints that are made are false. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, this ties into this next video that I'm going to show in a moment, where I have the female in audio. You can hear her, for example, we were talking, she wanted something, I forget. I remember we were sitting in the parking lot, and she started crying, just because whatever, the whole theatrics. She's a very good actor, and there's a point to all this. And so I was basically calling her out on it, and then she just started laughing, and she goes, yeah, I can turn it off and on whenever she wants. Now, this type of acting, for example, if it's used to accuse someone of something, is very dangerous, and people's emotions get all, entangled in it, and it's like, oh, look at how can you not believe somebody who's crying and red eyes and everything else? Well, it happens, and this was a good example of it. Over the years, I said, I don't know who was behind her to drag me into all this or make me a part of the sex trafficking or whatever else indirectly, using a false accusation, not only against myself, but another male co-worker who I was working with at the time. And I just remember going over notes, which I still have in older videos, that the evidence, there was somebody behind it. Who or exactly why, I don't know. But if that acting was being used for a false allegation, then it's no wonder. Now, specifically, this video is talking about, so what I would do is I would drop her off close to her place after meeting with her, drive across town to close to where I was, and call. Now, I used a payphone because the cell phone that I had at the time was pay-as-you-go phone, and it was only used for texting. And so that's the conversation that's going to be in this video. But she was talking about falling and hitting her head and everything else. And I remember when she was saying that, I thought she was just trying to drag this out to keep talking, and I just wanted to make sure, now document, okay, dropped you off, drove across town, you're okay, everything's okay, and that's why I did those recordings. And I thought, okay, well, this falling in the bathtub thing, whatever. But I had an epiphany, and that's part of the title of this video, and I'll let you listen to it.
Hours ago, I was putting together some materials. I was reviewing some videos I posted documenting my interactions with the female via videos. These videos were uploaded but not made public right away. Something caught my attention. As I went through the videos, I remembered something, and it got me thinking. There was a part where the female said she fell and hit her head and went to the hospital. I recall at least one other time I have recordings of her telling me.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
You got in okay, I hear?
Yes.
Alright, you sound like you're in good spirits.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of? No?
I fell in the bath.
Oh, Lord.
No, I'm not, I fell in, I was getting in the shower to wash my hair before I got in the bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in the shower.
Well, that's over. Now you can just lay in it and relax.
I know, but I fell really hard. I don't know why. It was like, really fast. It happened so fast, I don't know.
And it happens. Alright. I'll talk to you next time. Alright, have a good night. Bye.
I've been saying from the start, when the two officers found the intestinal gas pills in my pocket, this is when they tightened the handcuffs and beat me senseless. Saying, "We got here just in time, you sick fuck. We know what you're about to do to her." At the time, I had no idea what they were talking about, and I was confused why they would assume something like that. What if she told the hospital and police she thought I was drugging her, and this is why they went apeshit when they found the intestinal gas pills? She knew I carried those pills from when I worked at the mental health place. She's seen me take them and asked what they are. Told her and said they are off the shelf. She said she could use them for her stomach issues. If I am correct, it makes sense why they went apeshit and why the cover-up on those pills in my case. Could also explain why much of the information I received from the police was blocked out. This would be the history that proves why they came to the location that evening, and why a massive sexual assault investigation that followed. It's the only thing that makes sense.
No. Okay, stop looking at the tears. Now I have to get, you know what I have to do now is I have to get one of these Kleenexes. Thank you. Turn that on a dime. Okay, it's not over. And people are going to drive by thinking that you're actually crying.
She was going to cry, really cry, but I stopped myself.
So again, why this was happening? There's so many strange things that were going on. Like, for example, there was another time in audio you can hear her saying that she said the RCMP had called her one evening after I dropped her off, and they want to confirm where she lived because they had a warrant for somebody and she didn't know the name and she didn't even know what the hell all that was about. And I just remember making mental note thinking that's peculiar. But anyway, could it be all made up? Could be. Anything's possible. But there was just so many strange things going on. I mean, you can go insane trying to figure it all out. All I do is use the information that I know and the facts that I can prove to try to piece something together. Now, what does all this have to do with suppression of truth and everything else? Well, in facts, well, when you look at my case that happened in Calgary, what I uncovered, the suppression, the truth of the sexual abuse, trafficking, whatever you want to call it, in Calgary, Alberta, and then carried on to the police, judicial, and political corruption in the city of Calgary, Alberta, and the province overall. And again, I'm not saying everyone in politics and Alberta Health Services and everything are involved. I'm not. The problem is, though, the people who are, and who, for example, trying to silence me, whatever information they put in the system, other people, for example, in Alberta Health Services, just go along with it and, you know, assume that it's true because it's a colleague. But anyway, but we see the suppression of truth across the board on every single topic, and people buy into it. And this ties into studies made famous by Julia Shaw. And this is why, in part, even when you present someone with facts and truths, they won't accept it or they can't accept it. Sometimes the truth and facts, depending on the topic, are so big, it's overwhelming for people. And people would just rather have their heads in the sand, as a descriptive, or it's actually an analogy, because they just don't want to deal with it. It's just overwhelming. Now, for example, the sex trafficking in Alberta, that's a pretty heavy topic. And a lot of people, they just like, I don't want to, you know, it's reality. It's not something that, and the video that I did, the truth about sex trafficking, and the stories that I tell in there, these are not things, these are heavy topics, not things that I sought out to learn. And I guess, would it be something that I would have sought out and embraced? Probably not. I'd be like, oh, wow, okay, that exists, and maybe I'd be like everyone else. I don't know. We can't say how we would act or we wouldn't act in situations. But anyway, I'm digressing here. The suppression of truths, facts, is huge. You have to ask yourself why. Why is this so important? Who are the people suppressing everything? Who are the people? Why? For example, the suppression of the truth and facts with the police, judicial, political corruption in the city of Calgary. The suppression of truth and facts was because I was suing the city and they didn't want to be liable. Not only from myself, but other people, third-party people who got involved, who could have sued as well. So it was huge. That whole situation there went sideways for everyone on a large scale. And I ended up being their scapegoat. Now I'm living in the aftermath of it. It's unfair, but you know, it is what it is, okay? We see the suppression of truth and facts on everything in this world. Sometimes it even costs people their health. For example, certain diets being promoted as healthy and different foods being as healthy and not, and everything else. What medicines or so-called medicines to take and what not to take, and it's endless. It's just a lot of confusion for a lot of different people. Here's the key to get through it all, through everything. Simplify. Look back to when your life was simple, or when society's life was simple overall. Just simplify. Don't be consumed by anything. And that's a great problem we see with many people, especially people who call themselves truthers. They get consumed. And for example, you know, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can't, you know, it's like, you know something? Well, I'm going to stop here and say, none of us are getting out of this world alive. It's inevitable. Sure, you want to, you know, prolong your life, live a healthy life. But at the end of the day, none of us are getting out of here alive. And when your time comes, it's going to come. Whether you've taken all the precautions under the sun or not, it doesn't matter. You can eat the healthiest food, exercise, everything else, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of people who exercise, and I used to be a fitness guru myself. There's many people who exercise who die of heart attacks. So there's no guarantee of anything. And again, these types of truths are being suppressed as well. So basically, I just want to make an awareness to the suppression of truths and facts on every single topic. And don't be consumed trying to figure it out, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And as I told someone recently, say for example, it doesn't matter what the topic is, but just say for example, here's somebody's presented you the absolute facts, the truth. This is it. This is it. Then what? You have in front of you and the knowledge of the truths and the facts. Then what? What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it in a world that willingly begs for lies and they'll accept lies as truths? What are you going to do with the truths and facts when there are people, very powerful people, wanting to suppress it? And what are the truths and facts that make the world tick? Right? Just things to think about. Anyway, hopefully you got something from this video. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. And it's very hot right now. And share.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.